Welcome to Season 1 of the Nomadic Freelancer podcast. This is a show for high-performing digital nomads. Together, we can learn how to identify what is essential, get the right things done, and enjoy the process. Well, I'm stoked to get into this one for you. It's a financial episode today. Much of this podcast, what I want to share with this community, with people like us, is about money, finances, how to make more and budget, and just learn about the whole money side of this lifestyle, because it's really important and it's something we're learning. We have learned a lot this year, and we're going to share our experience with money, budgeting, and this lifestyle with you in this episode today. So we're going to get into the fine details of our income and expenses and what we earn together and what we spend together and where that leaves us at the end of the day in this episode. So let's get into it. I want to start with a little bit of, I'm joined by my lovely wife, Tracy, here.
Hello.
Again, for the second video podcast. If you want to see the video version of this, you can check it out on the YouTube channel. The links are in the description. In the last episode, I said the video would be available on Spotify too, but I forgot that I got to go through an application process. So hopefully they'll approve the video format on Spotify as well. But definitely it's already on the YouTube channel. Or just keep streaming the audio on whatever platform you prefer for podcast listening. And if you like what you're hearing and seeing, leave a rating and review. It would mean a lot to me. Okay, so I think I speak for Tracy when I say that we have never been really that good at being financially aware. Well, I'll let Tracy speak to that, but I just want to let you know
I'm
that
a little better than you.
She is definitely better than me. But I never had awareness of my finances my whole life. I would just earn some from a paycheck and then spend whatever I had until I didn't have any, and then I'd be broke until the next paycheck.
He doesn't even look at prices at the store. I've started to attune him to that. But
Financial awareness. Yeah, it's just never been my strong suit. So I wanted that to change this year. So this year, I made it a priority to learn how to understand what I'm making, what I'm spending, and to categorize and budget it effectively. And it's been a lot of fun, actually. I didn't think it would be this fun. I have a lot of fun with it.
That's what you do for fun?
Yeah, it's one of the things I do for fun. I look at the numbers.
Uh-huh.
So in this episode, it's sort of an income report for us individually and together as a unit. And we're going to go over this month, currently April, and this year, currently 2022, what that has looked like for us so far. I want to mention a couple of apps that we use to budget our finances. It's not a full review of apps. I'm going to have a separate episode where I'll just speak directly to you about apps that I've found to be the best for tracking finances. But the one that we use for budgeting finances, like you're probably familiar with Mint, but we use one called Copilot, and we're really enjoying it. Mm-hmm. And the link in the description for this app, if you're interested in checking it out, it's going to have a code in there. And if you use that code when you sign up for the app, you get, I think it's 2 free months. And then it helps me out too, because if you sign up and use it, then you get free months and then I get free months. So check out the link in the description for the code to check out the app Copilot. I think you're going to really dig it. We like it better than Mint. Mm-hmm. Another app we use is built into the Apple ecosystem. It's Numbers. You're probably familiar with it. So it's got some really cool features in there. I never used it before this year, but it's really cool because it's got built-in templates to create pie charts and graphs, so you can punch in your numbers and then it reflects on the graph immediately. So you instead of just looking at numbers like in Copilot, then in the Numbers app, you can see it visually represented in shapes.
Yeah, we usually at the beginning of the month we have a financial meeting every Sunday, which we'll talk about more. But at the beginning of the month, we go into the Numbers app and create our pie chart of how much we expect to spend on different categories. And then at the end of the month, we compare to what we actually spent and just kind of have a recap of that.
Good point. Yeah. So just to reflect that, as Tracy said, we'll start off our projected budget in the Numbers app to see what we're working with, what our income is looking like, what our expenses are, and then we'll see how the month plays out in the Copilot app, what we actually spent.
Yeah.
So we have our hopes.
Quite different.
Yeah, we have our intentions and then reality.
Yeah. And I think that we also both are not in like that whole depriving yourself thing. Like I know a lot of these people that are like, oh, save money, like don't get an espresso, don't do this, don't do that. Like we're not about that. Like I want to live my life the way I want to live it. You know, sure, I'll cut back on some of the more extravagant things, but I don't care if I go get an Americano every day. What that costs me like $3, maybe $4, and it brings me joy. So I'm not going to cut it out.
Yeah, I think that's one of the benefits of living sort of a minimalist, essentialist lifestyle. When we get rid of the other non-essential major things, that frees up resources for the little fun things.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's get into this. Let's get into the numbers. I sort of took notes on this. I'm going to start riffing on what I came up with, and then I'll let Tracy fill in the gaps because I'm sure I effed up somewhere. All right, so let's start with this month, April, so far. It's the middle of the month. Actually, the day that we're recording this, it's my birthday, April 12th.
Woo!
I'm 42, finally getting my act together. Hello.
Married and getting his act together.
Yeah.
It's a good year.
Yeah, best year ever. So, all right, let's start with income, and then we'll go to expenses, and then we'll see what's left for this month. So for me, my income appears to be $4,443. Tracy's income, this is actually separate. I didn't include the gig that Tracy's catering right now.
This is like up until this date because I haven't gotten paid for this gig yet.
Yeah, we're at Tracy's catering at a gig this week, and so she's going to have income that's not reflected here, but this is as of this moment today in real time. Tracy's income is $883.
Not much.
And total between us is $5,326. Okay, so expenses so far this month, I've spent $2,092. Is that right? It's weird when I look at these numbers, I'm like, what the hell did I spend that?
Well, yeah, because we each put in $1,200 towards our shared account.
Okay.
So that's one thing that you didn't mention is the way that we set up our finances is that we each have our own personal checking. Because I like to have money that I know is just mine and I don't need to ask to spend it or anything. If I want to go buy a new shirt or whatever, which I do often, I just pull that out of my personal account. And then we have a shared checking account where we decide each month an amount that we're going to match to put into that account. So right now we're each putting $1,200 into this shared account, and that way we pay all the bills out of that account, like car payments, insurance, like hotel stays, like anything that's a shared expense. So that number is reflecting what you've already put into that account.
Okay, cool. So Tracy has spent $2,819, about the same for both of us. That's because we dropped everything at the beginning of the month into the shared account, and then the rest of the month will sort of play out in some other kind of way. But so that totals $4,911, almost $5,000. And that could be close to the end of the month total there, about 5,000. But the remaining balance out of our income and expenses is $415. So that's okay. I mean, that means we're not in debt.
Yeah. I have like pulled from my savings because I haven't really been making enough these past couple months, and we've had a lot of expenses come up that were unexpected. Like we just had to get a new starter in our truck last week, so that was an extra $500.
Yeah, we'll get into those.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we'll get into those unexpected expenses in the next part about the year in total, and also buying the car and the debt. But just this is April so far. So far, it's looking pretty good. I do want to back up a little bit and talk about the last month, March, real quick. I just want to say that things change in our lifestyle, and it will in yours too. When we first started out with this lifestyle, our budget was a lot less, even though we weren't budgeting. I know it was a lot less like a year ago. But I want to back up just to show you the progress over time, how it can look for a full-time travel couple living the minimalist remote work lifestyle. Last month in March, we had budgeted in the Numbers app $1,389. To compare that with this month, we budgeted $2,289. Quite a bit more. Last month in March, I won't get into the details, but I will tell you we went quite a bit over.
It was also our wedding.
Yes, so we did spend quite a bit more on our wedding, even though it was a small affair. But we set a smaller budget last month and we went over. So that was last month.
Yeah, that's why we raised our budget. Because we realized that we should be more realistic with our spending.
Yeah, and of course gas prices, as you know, they've gone like doubled.
I think we spent almost $1,000 last month on gas. We did a lot of back and forth all over the West, so.
Yeah, we could go into different categories in a few minutes here, but Tracy's right. We spent just over $800 in gas last month, so a lot, because we drive a lot all over the Southwest states for different gigs for clients. So we might need to drive a little less.
Yeah.
Anywho, now I want to get into 2022 so far, including January, February, March, and April, to give you an idea of what a quarter year season can look like for a full-time travel couple. So here's the numbers I came up with looking over the Copilot details. The income for me has been $14,068. The income for Tracy has been $10,524. For both of us in total, that's $24,592. Okay, so expenses so far, in reality, has been, I've spent $12,603. Tracy has spent $18,394, and we can get into some of those details that you mentioned here. And totaling for us so far this year is $30,997. Now, the balance remaining from our income versus expenses actually leaves us in the negative at negative $6,405 so far this year. Not the greatest, but there's some reasons for that, and I'll let Tracy explain that.
Well, we, as we've mentioned before, we had to get a new truck because our Honda CR-V that we were driving before died right before we were leaving Paonia in February. So I had to pull money out of my savings to do a down payment on the truck. So that reflects some of the negative that we had to dip into. It's just kind of like unexpected things that come up, which is why I like to have a savings account. I like to have a little backup plan. So the goal right now is to like work a lot to build that savings back up so that we have a little nest egg to fall back on for times like that.
Yeah, the new car and then some unexpected expenses. Did you mention we had to get a new starter and pay a mechanic for labor and that?
Yeah,
and
a new battery.
New battery.
We got to get new tires.
We got to get new tires.
So, it's just little like road things. We did some upgrades on the Burro. So, it's like, well, yes, this life, it can be cheaper than just paying rent somewhere and living in a city. It also, like, there are months where we probably spend just as much as people living in a city paying rent do, especially with paying for a lot of gas if we're traveling a lot. But I think like we're trying to figure out a life where we spend more time in each place this summer, because yeah, it's just not ideal to spend all our money on gas.
Yeah. Yeah, if we were living a sedentary urban lifestyle, I'm sure these numbers could be even much higher with rent in cities these days, from what I've been hearing, plus utilities. Like, eesh, I'd probably have to have some kind of like 40-hour work week job at some like restaurant and hoping I get tips and stuff. So
We don't want that for you.
nah, I wouldn't be happy. I'm happy working as a digital nomad right now. I am going to have to raise my prices for my clients.
Yeah.
That's something, you know, I mean, right? In this lifestyle, you're working remotely and you start looking at your numbers, and if you're offering value to your clients, like I believe I am, I think I've been charging them fair prices. So it's time. I've had some long-term clients now. I think it's totally appropriate to raise my prices for them. So, you know, I don't have to stress about the money so much anymore.
Yeah. And I'm always looking at more creative ways to make money. So I think we're figuring it out, and we always, you know, we have enough to get by. And, you know, little gigs like this help me build up a little bit so that I can like not work for a couple weeks. So we're doing good.
Yeah, all things considered, we're doing good. We're blessed.
Yeah.
We are grateful to have the good fortune of being alive and having the ability to serve others in a way that brings us money in ways that are creative, flexible, and for the most part enjoyable.
Yeah.
I'd say we enjoy what we do. And so we just want to share with you our personal real world experiences with this lifestyle and the money coming in and going out and what that looks like. So if you're just getting started out, I hope this gives you some perspective, some inspiration, and I'd also be curious to hear from you how things are going with you, what you've learned, if you have anything to share with us. Also, before closing out, I'm just now remembering, I want to put an open invitation out there for guests to be on this show, or if there's anything that we might be able to share on a similar podcast. I'm looking to build up this show in the community of people like us, and so I'd love to put that invitation out there to someone you know, or you perhaps, if you have some value you think you could bring to this show, come on, and we could even do an online over the phone video interview, or I could be a guest on somebody else's show. So that's the financial report for 2022 for a full-time travel couple living the essentialist lifestyle on the road.
Mm-hmm.
As always, I like to ask Tracy if she has any final thoughts.
Oh God, why do you do this to me every
Or
time?
did you share all your thoughts in the episode, or as I've been...
Usually that's what happens, is that you have an episode, you share your thoughts, and then we're done. And then you always ask, is there anything else? Oof. I mean, I can't really think of anything. Just that I want to be better about, you know, watching my spending, I suppose. Trying to stay within those budgets. It's a challenge, you know, and I think with food, like, we just never like to compromise on anything. You know, we eat organic. We like to go out sometimes. It just gets expensive, you know. I don't want to scare anyone away from this lifestyle, but I also just want to be realistic that, you know, it's like, depending on the life you want to live, like, what did we decide? It's about $5,000 a month for the two of us, with all expenses included.
In April, yeah, 5,000.
Yeah, so it's like, well, you could probably live in a city for that. I don't know, but we get a lot of adventure.
Yeah, I don't know. Share with us what your monthly budget's looking like. Curious to
And if we stayed in one place, it would be much less. But I feel like having a really small trailer like this, it's the whole reason we have it, is that we want to be on the move. We don't want to just like live in one place. Like, if we were just stuck in one place, I would want something much bigger.
Yeah, this summer we're looking to travel up to the Northwest, Oregon.
Yeah, we want to see that coast.
Yeah, the Northwest coast. But back to what Tracy's point about food was, I just wanted to show this to you here. eat good fat. So it's not like we're buying cheap oils and fats. Like we buy expensive ghee and other ingredients because we like to invest not money but quality ingredients into our bodies. And so that's something to factor in. We're not eating on ramen.
No. Yeah, you could save a lot of money if you want to just eat ramen and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, but that's just not our vibe.
Yeah. We buy more often than not Whole Foods, and we got the whole kitchen set up right over here, and Tracy will often...
We're cooking salmon for dinner tonight, so, you know, pretty luxurious, I would say.
We are living luxurious.
Yeah.
Yeah, and grateful for it.
Yeah.
And grateful to share. Appreciate you tuning in.
Yeah. Let us know if you have any questions.
Right.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to this episode. I'm grateful for your attention. If you're getting value from this show, subscribe on Apple Podcasts and leave a review, or follow on Spotify and give it a rating there. You can also stream it right on my website at davidwhipple.com. And hey, let's make this interactive. If you have a question, send me an audio message and I'll share it in an episode to give it an answer. The link for that and everything else is in the description. So until next time, work smarter, travel lighter, and enjoy the process.